Today, we're going to go over the amazing story of the boys of '86, the West Ham United team that almost won the league title in the 1985-86 season. The boys of '86 were a West Ham United team that achieved their best ever league performance in the 85-86 season, finishing third in the first division behind Liverpool and Everton. They were led by manager John Lyall and featured a prolific strike partnership of Frank McAvenny and Tony Cottee, who scored 46 goals between them. They also had a strong defence, with Tony Gill alongside captain Alvin Martin. The team started slowly but were on an unbeaten run of 18 games in the autumn, and challenged for the title until the penultimate game of the season. They are widely regarded as West Ham's greatest ever team, and often compared to their modern counterparts. So how did this team come together? Well, it all started in the summer of 1985, when John Lyall made two key signings that would transform his team. He brought in midfielder Mark Ward from Oldham Athletic and striker Frank McAvenny from St Mirren. Ward was a hard-working and energetic player who could create chances for his teammates, while McAvenny was a versatile and charismatic forward who could play in midfield or up front. He initially played in midfield, but an injury to Paul Goddard gave him the opportunity to partner with Tony Cottee, who was already a star at West Ham despite being only 21 years of age. The two strikers hit it off immediately and formed a deadly duo that terrorised defences across the country. McAvenny scored 26 league goals in his debut season, while Cottee added 20 more. They were both fast, skillful and clinical finishers who complemented each other perfectly. They also had a great rapport with each other and with the fans, who loved their flair and personality. But they were not the only stars of the team. The defence was also solid and reliable, with Alvin Martin as the leader and inspiration. Martin was a one-club man who spent his entire career at West Ham, making over 500 appearances for them. He was a tough and intelligent centre-back who could also play in the midfield or as a sweeper. He was also a threat from set pieces, scoring 34 goals for the club. His most memorable performance came in 1986, when he scored a hat-trick against Newcastle United in an 8-1 thrashing at Upton Park. What made his feat even more incredible and remarkable was that he scored against three different goalkeepers: Martin Thomas, who was injured after conceding 4 goals, Peter Beardsley, who replaced him as an outfield player, and Chris Hedworth, who was brought on as a substitute. The rest of the team was also full of quality and character, with players like Ray Stewart, Tony Gill, Jeff Pike, Alan Devonshire, George Paris, Neil Orr, Paul Ince and Phil Parkes. They all played their part in making West Ham a formidable force that season. But how did they fare in the league? Well, they had a slow start to the season, winning only one of their first 7 games. By September, they were lying in 13th place, far behind the leaders Man United. But then something clicked, and they were on an incredible run of form that saw them climb up the table and challenge for the title. They were unbeaten for 18 games between September and January, including 9 consecutive wins between October and December. They beat some of the top teams in the league along the way, such as Leicester City 3-0, Nottingham Forest 4-2, Man United 2-0, Chelsea 4-0. They also reached the 4th round of the Milk Cup, now known as the League Cup, where they lost to eventual winners Oxford United. By Christmas of 1985, they were second in the table behind Liverpool, who had also been on an incredible run of form under Kenny Dalglish. The two teams met Upton Park on New Year's Day 1986 in a crucial clash that could have decided the fate of the title race. There was a thrilling game that ended in a 2-2 draw, with McAvenny and Cottee scoring for West Ham and Ian Rush and Ronnie Whelan scoring for Liverpool. The result kept West Ham in the hunt, but also gave Liverpool a slight edge. The next few weeks were tough for West Ham, and they suffered 3 defeats in 4 games and also had to cope with the backlog of fixtures due to bad weather. They slipped to 7th place by February, but they did not give up. They bounced back with a series of impressive wins, including the 8-1 demolition of Newcastle and a 5-3 victory over Ipswich Town. By April, they were back in 2nd place, 4 points behind Liverpool with a game in hand. They had 4 games left to play, while Liverpool had 3. The title race was still wide open, and West Ham had a chance to make history. But fate was not on their side. Their game in hand was against Oxford United, who had already beaten them in the Milk Cup and were fighting for survival in the league. There was a tense and tight game that ended in a goalless draw, leaving West Ham 2 points behind Liverpool with 3 games left. Liverpool, meanwhile, had to face Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the penultimate game. Chelsea were also battling relegation and needed a win to stay up. It was a tense and tight game that looked like it was heading for a goalless draw, until Kenny Dalglish scored a late winner for Liverpool in the 87th minute. It was his first goal of the season, and it proved to be the most important one. It secured Liverpool's 16th league title and their first double, as they also won the FA Cup that year. West Ham's hopes were dashed, but they still had one game left to play against Everton at Goodison Park. Everton were the defending champions and had finished second behind Liverpool. They were also West Ham's closest rivals for the runners-up spot. It was a tough game for both teams who had nothing left to play for, but for pride. Everton won 3-1. West Ham finished third in the league, their highest ever position. They won 26 of the 42 games and finished with 84 points, 2 behind Everton and 4 behind Liverpool. They scored 74 goals and conceded 51, give them a goal difference of plus 23. They were the surprise package of the season and earned the respect and admiration of many fans and pundits. They were dubbed as the Boys of 86 by the media and the fans, who celebrate their achievements and their style of play. They played attractive and attacking football with flair and passion. They had a great team spirit and a loyal fan base. But what happened to them after that season? Well, they could not repeat their success in the following years. They finished 15th in the 86-87 season and 16th the year after that. They also lost some of their key players to other clubs. McAvenny joined Celtic in 1987 for a record fee of £750,000, while Cottee moved to Everton in 88 for a record fee of £2.2 million. Ward also left for Man City in 1989. Manager John Lyall was sacked in 1989 after West Ham were relegated to the second division. He was replaced by Lyle Macquarie, who lasted only one season before being replaced by Billy Bonds. Bonds led West Ham back to the first division in 1991, but they were relegated again the following year. The Boys of 86 never played together again as a team, but they remained close friends and legends at West Ham. Some of them returned to the club later in their careers or after retirement. McAvenny rejoined West Ham in 1989, but his second spell was marred by injuries and off-field problems. He left again in 1992 after scoring 49 goals in 153 games for the club. Cottee came back to Upton Park in 1994 after brief spells at Sheffield United and Norwich City. He helped West Ham win promotion to the Premier League in 1995 under Harry Redknapp and stayed until 96 after scoring 146 goals in 336 games for the club. Alvin Martin retired from playing in 96 after making over 500 appearances for West Ham. He later became a coach at the club under Redknapp. He also worked as a pundit for Sky Sports. The rest of the team also had various roles at West Ham or elsewhere in football after their playing days were over. They all remained loyal to the club and his fans, who never forgot their achievements and their legacy. The Boys of 86 are still regarded as West Ham's greatest ever team by many fans and experts, and are often compared to their modern counterparts. They have been inducted into the West Ham Hall of Fame and have been honoured with various awards and tributes over the years. They are part of West Ham's history and identity, and they will always be remembered as one of the most exciting and entertaining teams in English football.